just looked out of my brain.
Because the clock in here is heralding where the yeah.
Oh, I feel nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nicely.
Well, my just,
Okay, good, good.
Good evening. I would like to call to order the Kaiser City Council in regular session. It is Monday, October 18th, 2021, and ask our city recorder to please call roll.
Counselor Kohler?
Here.
Counselor Reed?
Here.
Counselor Herrera?
Here.
Mayor Clark?
Here.
Council President Smith?
Here.
Counselor Day?
Here.
And Counselor Duran?
Here.
And Youth Counselor Coleman?
Here.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to invite up a young man who is here with the Scouts to introduce himself. And once he does that, he will join and invite us to join him in the Pledge of Allegiance. Come on up. So if you could introduce yourself and the troop you're with.
Hi, I'm Nicholas Elder. I'm from Troop 20.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And what badge are you working for tonight?
Citizenship in the community and communication.
Very good. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. And of course, reach out to any of us if you have questions or ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you joining us this evening.
No problem.
It is now my pleasure to introduce a couple of special guests who will be talking to us this evening about the work they are doing. And it is also a very important proclamation that I will be issuing at this time. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And in that light, we have a proclamation to read tonight, and then I'm going to invite up Michelle Rowland Schwartz and Sophia Boru to talk about the work they are doing in that area. Whereas the people of Kaiser believe that all people shall be treated with dignity and respect. Whereas domestic violence has no place in our community under any circumstances. And whereas active community support for domestic violence prevention and victim support services saves lives and creates safety and hope for survivors. And whereas Marion County, through the District Attorney's Office, Sheriff's Office, Public Health, the Domestic Violence Council, and others, provide significant resources for prosecution, prevention education, and victim support services. And whereas our commitment to domestic violence awareness and prevention extends for our support for and volunteerism with community partners such as Safety Compass, Center for Hope and Safety, Liberty House, and the Oregon Sexual Assault Task Force. And whereas we know as individuals we can make a difference by speaking up, raising awareness, and reaching out to help victims and survivors. Now therefore I, Kathy Clark, Mayor of the City of Kaiser, together with the Kaiser City Council assembled in regular session, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2021 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and resolve to honor those who have died and acknowledge those who have survived by supporting meaningful and accessible services that create safety and hope for survivors in our community. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Kaiser to be affixed this 18th day of October 2021. Copies of these will be made available to our two guests this evening. And first off, I would like to invite up Miss Oregon, Sophia Boru, who recently, as Miss Kaiser, won that title. And her work this year is going to be centered around domestic violence awareness. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and congratulations.
Thank you so much for your time. Domestic violence awareness is something that is of the utmost importance to me. And working at McNary High School, where our children are starting to date and they're starting to see the harshness and reality behind what can become of being in a violent relationship, whether that be physical, emotional, verbal, any form. It is of the utmost importance to raise that awareness now so that when they are out there in the community, they're able to help those and stand with them and break the silence. I myself have created a hashtag for social media to help raise that awareness, hashtag #GetUpGlowUp. And it's been a slow trickle for right now, but I'm hoping as I continue my reign for the next year to continue to raise that awareness and use that hashtag and being able to connect with so many of our facilities here in Salem Keizer. And this project is so big. It's not enough to just have me and my sister queens and my family. It involves the community. And with the community being able to take that on and raising more awareness about domestic violence as October's month, that just warms my heart. So thank you so much for this time and being able to acknowledge that with me and stand with me.
Thank you very much. And can you tell us what's next for you in the competition?
Yes, I'll be heading to Nationals in February for competing for the title of Nationals United States of America's Miss. I'll be competing with about 50 other women, and it'll be super exciting to represent not only Kaiser, but the entire state, which is huge for me. Growing up in Kaiser, it was something that was so small, and now it's become even larger than I can imagine.
Well, congratulations. We all wish you the best in the competition, and thank you for putting all of your efforts toward what we know is a critical issue for the health and safety of our young men and women in this community. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Ms. Oregon. It's now my pleasure to introduce Michelle Rowland Schwartz, who's the Executive Director of the Oregon Sexual Assault Task Force. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much, Madam Mayor, counselors, and staff. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening. Again, Michelle Rowland Schwartz, Executive Director with the Oregon Attorney General Sexual Assault Task Force. We are a statewide nonprofit that has existed for about the last 20 years. And over a decade, we have been based in Keizer, right there on River Road, near Burger King and Sonic. We're kind of tucked in, not many people know that we're there. So really appreciate the opportunity just to come speak tonight about some of our work. We know that domestic violence is a pattern of coercive behaviors and violent tactics committed by one person against a family member or an intimate partner, and that this can happen in any kind of relationship, and that both men and women and youth in dating relationships can experience domestic violence and dating violence. We also know that for our LGBTQ members, and particularly trans survivors of color, actually have a higher rate of incidence of violence and abuse. And so that is why this work is so critically important. The Sexual Assault Task Force really is kind of focused on the sexual assault and abuse component of the domestic and sexual violence work across our state. So we typically focus our month and our work in the month of April for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. But what I appreciate about this invitation is that we know that sexual assault is a tactic utilized within domestic violence situations. And so appreciate the chance to kind of highlight that. In terms of our work here in Oregon, we offer training and support for first responders across the state. So we train all new law enforcement officers at the police academy, prosecutors, advocates, folks working in higher education in K through 12, and healthcare providers, specifically sexual assault nurse examiners. I'm really excited actually to host a 40-hour training next week here at the community center for sexual assault nurse examiners that are coming from different parts of the state to learn how to care for our pediatric population moving forward in Oregon, really trying to invest in that work. So thank you for hosting us next week. I'm really excited to show Kaiser off to folks that are traveling from elsewhere. The other piece that I want to just acknowledge is that while our work is to support those first responders in the community, they're really the ones that are on the ground doing this work day to day. We are not a direct service provider, we support them. And I just want to acknowledge the incredible work that they've been doing, particularly over the last 18 months. We know that advocates are answering hotline calls in closets and bathrooms while they're working from home and taking care of multi-generational families in the process. And so I just want to give a shout out to all of those folks that are doing just really incredible work. And here in our community, the organizations that you named, I really appreciate Center for Hope and Safety, Samalka, Liberty House, and many others. That is amplified across the state. And that, to me, gives me hope that we have those folks on the ground doing that work. And really appreciate in the proclamation you naming prevention, the opportunity to do prevention education, because we believe at the task force that prevention is possible. So thank you so much for the invitation this evening.
Thank you so much, Michelle, and thank you and your task force and all of your partners for the work that you are doing. Michelle.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Don't forget.
Kind of got caught in my head there for a second. This is the color who always gets the great pictures, so I'm gonna stand in the middle. Okay, great. I know this one person.
We're not photo bombing.
Behind the mask? Thank you. And foggy glasses. Yeah, foggy glasses. What I'd like to do is, Michelle, I'd like you to take this back to the office, and I'm going to get a copy for you. Okay. To have where you go and speak, so you'll be able to talk to people about what we're doing here in Kaiser.
Wonderful, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you all very much. The next order of business for us this evening is committee reports. We have 2 committee reports this evening, and we'll start off with David Loudon to talk about our parks boards.
Madam Mayor. Oh, okay. This is for our last Parks Board meeting, which was last Tuesday. And we had Gary Whalen and Clint Holland express concerns about the RFP for the summer concert series. Mr. Holland also expressed concerns about the negotiations for the operation of the Little League Park. Carol Durfler of Keizer West Kaiser, bad me, Association thanked the council and the Parks Board for visiting Palmacia Park on the recent park tour and suggested perhaps the park could be improved with a couple of benches, a viewing platform, and perhaps some stairs similar to Northview Park. MIG Master Plan Update Presentation, Cindy Medenza of MIG, keep thinking of playing then, shared a slide presentation that covered the planning process, community priorities, system-wide goals, site recommendations, discussions, and following regards improving sports fields, the ongoing maintenance and operation and needs identified, short, medium, and long-range projects, and importance of taking care of the existing amenities, use of ARPA funding, and county involvement. Public Works Director, Bill Meyer, lawyer. Okay.
It's okay.
It's the feedback.
Yeah, Tracy's going to work on that. Sorry about that.
Reminded the board that once the 3 to 5 year plan for improvements and upgrades is complete, staff will needed to be added in order to maintain things. Ms. Medenza added that a master plan will look at funding resources, but at this time they do not anticipate matching improvements with funding resources. She concluded, noting that the next time she will bring the board a draft of the updated master plan for review and recommendations to the council. The board approved 9 additional bands for the summer concert series. They are the Flextones, Rock Bottom Boys, Bridge City Blues, Mark Snyder, Seymour and Friends, Pendleton Highway, Moonshine, June Bugs, Mark Tyndall, and the Mother Lode, and Boondock Boys. The Parks Report. Each month, half the park boards reports on 2 parks. Mike Pantalone had Sunset and Willamette Manor Park. Both look good. Park staff is doing excellent work. Robert Johnson reported that he had gotten replacement parts for the broken spring-based rocking toy at Willamette Manor Park. So he's able to repair a clay Rushton. Both parks, Blair and Hen Creek, both parks looking great. Park staff commended Matthew Poteet, Kaiser Little League Park, and Palmacia. Both parks looking great. Park staff commended. Matt Lawyer, Northview was the focus of a community service project headed up by Marlene Coleman with over 30 McNary students, including junior ROTC. They spread over 20 yards of engineered wood fiber in the play area, and Wallace House is looking good. Robert Johnson thanked the volunteers who helped with the parks. Mr. Johnson also reported that his staff has started winterization process in the parks and started mowing/blowing leaves and doing fall pruning.
All right.
Okay.
Any questions? All right, thank you very much, David, appreciate it. Matt Lawyer for Planning Commission.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, staff, and council. For the record, Matt Lawyer, Planning Commission Chair. We met on October 13th, first time in a while. We haven't had a lot going on. Shane's been super busy behind the scenes getting a lot of work ready for us, so really happy to get together and talk about some really great things. We've recently welcomed 3 brand new planning commissioners, Commissioner Mo Avashan, Commissioner Ron Burson, and Commissioner Sarah Hutches are new with the Planning Commission. We've recently lost Commissioner Mark Keizer, whose terms expired, Commissioner Jeff Watson, and then Commissioner Frank Hostler. And so we've got a pretty fresh Planning Commission, which is great because we've got a really big topic coming up with the review of House Bill 2001 and how Shane is going to wedge that into our comprehensive code. So looking at it, we had a presentation by Matt, I'm going to say his last name wrong here, with a consulting group that came down, and Matt Hasty from Angelo Planning Group came down and did the presentation on House Bill 2001 and Senate Bill 458. We talked about the milestones within that process. Ultimately, what it boils down to is it has to be complete by June 2022, the end of June 2022. But the plan that was put before the Planning Commission spells out a really good process where there'll be some public engagement on the code revisions that are being recommended. But ultimately, it looks like basically from now through May of 22 is going to be quite busy as Shane and Angelo Planning Group work through taking our code, extracting things from the model code that work within what the Planning Commission is looking at and the public feedback we get. And ultimately, we'll come up with a really good draft of new code. And it seems scary, but a lot of this is really creating allowances, mostly for missing middle housing and looking at different housing types, specifically to address some of those missing middle options. And so it's a lot of work. No better guy to do the work than Shane and Dina and his team over there.
While he was drinking water.
That's right. But yeah, we're really looking forward to it. I'd like to, again, just welcome the new planning commissioners. It's great. Kind of a crazy time to start on the Planning Commission with something like this. Of course, one of my second meetings was sign code, so I'll take your House Bill 2001 and raise you sign code. So, yeah. Other than that, getting back to work. Really appreciate it. We're going to be meeting. I think December 1st will be our next meeting. We typically meet second week in the month, but we're giving the consultant a little more time to kind of digest some of the stuff through November, and then come back first part of December with our first kind of peek at what this is going to look like. So that's all I got.
All right, thank you very much. Questions? We appreciate the work. For those who are watching, House Bill 2001 had to do with changing requirements in our codes regarding housing. Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Because side note, you said housing. I happened to hear Commissioner Bethel mention something about Marion County having funds still for rental relief from COVID. Do you know anything about that?
I believe there's a variety of agencies out there. I know the state has some rental options. I believe Marion County does as well. Our Community Action Agency also has them. So if people are interested in that, they can certainly reach out to the Marion County website to look at the counties, but also I believe it's OHCS, but I might be wrong on that, so don't quote me. There's a lot of rental assistance programs out there, and if I understand it correctly, there's also still some COVID dollars for businesses out there as well.
Yeah, I just saw that part too, so, okay,
Yep.
thank you so much.
Well, and I know this is a little bit off topic because that's not something the planning commission does handle, but in terms of rental and so forth, if folks are watching it, it's also very important to reach out to their landlords if they're in that position, because they would much rather get the rental assistance than have to go through the process of re-renting the place. So definitely communicate on that one. But back to the Planning Commission on House Bill 2001, this has to do with housing types and changing our codes to allow for more residential development within the urban growth boundary. So I'm getting a head nod from Mr. Witham that I got that right. And I encourage people who are curious about that to go ahead and go online, and it's very easy to find the entire bill online, House Bill 2001, go to the Oregon State Legislature and look up bills, and it'll be right there.
And the draft and the rules are out as well. So the legislation is where it started, but the rules are out, and I think that's what Shane and Angela are going to go through, is applying the model code to our code and seeing where those things go.
All right. Look forward to that work, and the planning commissioners, they're up to the challenge, I'm sure. All right, thank you very much. That's all committee reports I have signed up. Is there anybody else here to give a committee report? Okay. That takes us then to public comments. This time is provided for citizens to address the council on any matters other than those on the agenda scheduled for public hearing. We have no public hearing scheduled this evening. There is one written comment that has been provided here on the dais, but it is specific to item 8C, which is the Public Education Government Fund update. So I'd refer to this letter from John Straw in that context. So that will be for later in our conversation. So I just want to make sure people understand that that's separate from, or has to do with a specific agenda item. Under public comment, I have a few people signed up. And just to remind people, I will ask you to state your name and city of residence for the record. You have 5 minutes. Your turn to talk, ours to listen. And if we ask any questions, it'll be just for clarification, and we will ask staff to come back to us with any follow-ups if it is appropriate to the topic. Okay, the first one that I have up, though, is Corey Filardo, who's going to talk to us about the holiday events.
Hi, Madam Mayor and City Councilors and everybody else gathered tonight. I'm Corey Filardo with the Keizer Chamber of Commerce. I live in Keizer, Oregon. And I'm just here tonight because I'm excited about our holiday programs coming up to get back in the swing of things since we weren't able to last year. So I'm just gonna give you a list of what's happening. I'm happy to answer any questions or anything that comes up for you at the end, and hopefully I don't miss anything. So starting this month, October 23rd, we are doing a food drive at the Kaiser Community Food Bank. This is to raise food assistance for the city of Kaiser so that it goes right back directly into the Kaiser Food Bank. We're partnering with Marion Polk Food Share, Kaiser Food Bank, and then our holiday giving program to make sure we have enough food from now to the end of the year for the Kaiser families. Also partnering with us on that is the McNary Grad Party. They'll be there at the food drive selling Krispy Kremes, so $12 a box. I know you all are gonna come get a box. We want our kids to have a great graduation party come June 2022. Then on November 25th, we have our Turkey Dash Pajama Party. You can go onto the Keizer Chamber website and register for the run. Registration is open. It's $30 for adults with the t-shirt, $20 for youth with the t-shirt. The gift at the end of the run is a commemorative mug with the Turkey Dash logo on it. And then for a few awards that we give out, Willamette Valley Pie Company will provide the pies for that. And then a huge shout out to Bark Boys, who is our presenting sponsor for the Turkey Dash. Again, it's a pajama party, so wear your favorite pajamas and come run the run before you eat Thanksgiving dinner. Then, all through the month of October, we partner with the Kaiser School. We have 10 here in Kaiser. And then we're working with the Teen Parent Program, Barbara Roberts, junior high and high school, to get names of families and children, which will initially feed our holiday giving program. I'm going to bump back a little bit really quickly. We just had our Percy auction back in September on the 23rd, where the amazing women of Kaiser came together, and we just had a great blast. Some men in the room were there to provide support during that, so thank you, Counselor Dan Kohler, for being there. But we raised $30,000 with the auction, and that's going to allow us to serve 600 children in Kaiser, which is 10 more families per school than last year. And then we're able to bring on the Teen Parent Program and Barbara Roberts High School and Junior High. So super great for that. Super blown away by the response at the Percy auction. I think I cried like 5 times. So with that, we're working with the school counselors, CSOCs, and principals all throughout Kaiser to get those names of children and families to be able to serve and give them a toy and a clothing item and then a food box during Christmas. And that's going to happen December 6th through the 11th is kind of like that gift wrapping, the food box preparation and delivery. But prior to that, we have businesses in Kaiser who will have the holiday tree tags that you can go out and get them. Willamette Valley Bank will have some. Courthouse Athletic Club, Columbia Bank. There's a whole bunch of businesses. You can find all that information on the chamber website. And then along with the dates for the wrapping and the food boxes and the delivery. We always encourage our community members to come out and be part of the delivery. And there's a process for that. You just show up and we get your information and we allow you to take a box to families to be part of that tradition in Kaiser. Also, on December 11th, we have our Jingle Dash, followed by the Kaiser Holiday Lights Parade. The Jingle Dash will start at 6:15, taking off from Kaiser Chamber office, and then, I hope I get this right, down to Boucher, back up to Abby's Pizza, around the block, and then back to Kaiser Chamber office. Immediately after the run, the parade will start, and all the applications and sponsorship information is available on the website. And a big shout out to our presenting sponsor, Cascade Floors, for representing that.
All right. And you did all that from memory. And the tree lighting is
Oh,
on.
and see, I missed one.
That's why I'm asking a question. And would you please tell us about the tree lighting?
Absolutely. The Christmas tree lighting will happen December 7th, starting from 6 p.m. to 7. And it will be our traditional tree lighting. The Kaiser Fire Department will bring Santa. We'll be giving out candy canes. Hopefully we can get some caroling lined up for that. And then a child from the community will help Santa in lighting the Christmas tree.
So, and a lot of these we'll make sure are on our website. Really encourage people to link over to what's happening for the holiday season. And thank you so much for all the hard work that goes into all of these events to make this a very special season in Kaiser.
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thank you. Councilor Kohler, you had a question?
I do, Ms. Falardo. You mentioned that members of the community could help deliver your food boxes and gifts. And you said there was certain information that would need to be gathered. What is that information?
Sure. We'll take down your license plate and Oregon or your state ID number. That way we know who's taken the items. It just helps in the instance that maybe there's a mix-up or something didn't get dropped off, or sometimes somebody could think it's a different program and come get a box, and we just need to make sure we have that information that way the children and families we've promised to serve actually get served.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, we're good. We're going to be spending a lot of time in this community. Thank you so much. Next up, I have Marlene Parsons.
Can I move this down? I'm a short person. Thank you, Mayor, councilors, and city staff. My name is Marlene Parsons, and am I already done? I got one sentence.
Been nice seeing you, Marlene.
Questions?
I thought, wow, that was quick.
If it's going to
I'm
happen
a
to
speed reader,
anybody,
but not that quick.
Yeah, Mr. Hare doesn't know he's messing with, I don't think. Sure you're happy with that?
that's right.
Anyway, my name is Marlene Parsons, and I currently reside in this wonderful, great city of Kaiser. I'm coming to speak to you today from a historical perspective. I spent 6 years on the K Festival Committee when I was on City Council. And as part of that, we were responsible for approving the bands for Kaiser Rapids Park, the amphitheater. And also, we gave our yes to extend the contract for Mr. Holland, Clint Holland, better known as Clint. We'll just do Clint. I just had a problem, I guess, with the process. I particularly don't like RFPs. I know RFPs are something that the cities need to do to, get out contracts for things. But I think my problem with the RFP is that it wasn't. I didn't think it was fair in how it was presented. Mr. Holland hand wrote his, and he didn't type it, and it wasn't as professional as the other applicant. Not to diss the other applicant, because they're just as qualified as Mr. Holland. But my problem, I guess, was just with the process, with the grading, the process, and the historical perspective was, we never asked him to do this before. I think one other time he only ever had to do an RFP. He never had to do one before. It was always a gimme. Here you go, here you go, here you go. Somebody else wants to come in and do it, and now we do an RFP, and I think that's, from a historical perspective, that wasn't what we had been doing, so I think that was a little different. And I think the hardest thing I had problem was with the grader. So the people that graded these RFPs were his friends, his mentors. He served on boards with them, except for a couple of city staff. If I were grading the RFP and this person and I knew both of the applicants, I would have a hard time with being, I don't want to be easy because I don't want to appear that I have, heads up on what's going on. I would just like to see the RFP process started over. I'd like to see graders come in that are not familiar with either of the applicants, because I think that would be fair and respectful to both of the applicants in that regard. So I'm just coming to you to just ponder this in your head. I don't want to read this anymore because it's dumb, but ponder it in your head that, we need to make sure that all the processes that we do with RFPs are fair to all the applicants. I know that once an RFP comes in, we look for it to make sure it's complete. If there's not another applicant, then we obviously don't grade it. But I guess my question too, you could look at later is if an RFP comes in and it's the only one, it's not complete, do we still call that person to say you missed something? Or do we just hand it to him because he was the only applicant? So these are just questions to ponder. I don't know those answers. That's why I'm asking them for later discussion. So that's all I have. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Next up, I have Carolyn Holman.
My name is Carolyn Holman. I reside in Kaiser. And I was at the Parks Board meeting when the issue of the amphitheater contract came up. And it just seems to me that Clint Holland really embodies the whole Kaiser motto of spirit and volunteerism. And given that and his 9-year record of what seems to be success at the amphitheater, just from what little I know from the presentations at the Parks Board, it just seems it would be only fair to declare a failed RFP and start the process over. That's my opinion. And I had another comment on another matter completely. I wanted to briefly address the new Community Engagement Committee, which I think that's a great idea. But I also think a Diversity, Equity, Inclusivity Committee is a great idea. And in fact, a Community Engagement Committee would be the perfect group to really handle a diversity, equity, inclusivity. I think those are two different matters, and that's just my opinion. So I wanted to share that. That's all I have.
Thank you for sharing. All right. All right, thank you. Carol Dorfler? See, Marlene, you're the tall one.
I want to measure.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, councilors, and staff. I'm Carol Dorfler. I live in Kaiser. I'm the president of the West Kaiser Neighborhood Association, and I am here this evening representing the West Kaiser Neighborhood Association Board in support of Clint Holland, who's been a great neighbor and who has managed the Kaiser Rapids Parks Amphitheater for 9 years without incident. I'm asking you, as a council and as staff, to discard the present RFP process and start a new RFP process anew in fairness to everybody, as the old one appears to have been flawed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One point of clarification, Mr. Johnson, if I may ask, were there any protests or comments submitted after the intent to award was submitted?
No.
Thank you. All right. And would, for the record, because I think there's been different reports out there, on what date was the RFP issued? Mr. Johnson?
The RFP was sent out and published on August 13. Clinton did not receive that because of a mix-up with the P.O. box. He received it on the 19th, and it was due on the 30th, August 30th.
Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you.
Councilor Herrera?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. May I ask a
Follow-up question?
follow-up question to Shannon?
Is your microphone on?
I'm sorry?
Is your microphone on?
May I ask a follow-up question to?
Please.
What was the reason that Clint did not get the?
We had a wrong P.O. box number.
We as in who?
The staff.
Okay, so
my
the
assistant.
staff, city
So
staff.
we
sent
mailed it to the chamber and to Clint on the same day, August 13. So I don't know what day the chamber received it. My guess would probably be 2 days later. So they received it on the 15th, and Clint didn't receive it until the email on the 19th. So Clint had approximately 11 days, and the chamber probably had closer to 2 weeks or something like that to complete.
And if I may, what was the original, and I'm sure I've heard this once, what was the original reason to go to the RFP?
Well, the contract was up and all the extensions
Okay,
were up.
gotcha. There was a contract. Okay.
Right.
Just wanted to make sure. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for follow-up. All right, that's all I have signed up for public testimony this evening. Is there anyone else who would like to address the council under public testimony this evening? All right, seeing none. We will then go to, we have no public hearings this evening, so this will take us to administrative action. Item 8A, which is an ordinance amending the Kaiser Development Code regarding section 2.102, single-family residential, RS, section 2.103, limited density residential, RL, section 2.104, medium density residential, RM, section 2.201, general standards, and section 2.302, street standards, amending ordinance number 98-389. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Planning Director Shane Witham was going to provide the staff report, and, City Attorney Shannon Johnson is going to provide the staff report on this ordinance change.
Thanks, Wes, although Shane can probably help with more of the technical questions, actually. This came before council for a public hearing on September 20, and after the hearing, council directed staff to prepare an ordinance to adopt the recommended changes from the Planning Commission. I did add language after the hearing suggested by Councilor Day in section 2.302.08B regarding the ability to enforce easement and other requirements, so that was added in that section. The matter is before you tonight for adoption, and with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Witham, did you have anything to add?
No, Madam Mayor, I think our attorney summed it up quite good.
All right, thank you very much. Are there questions on the staff report? Joanne? Day? Smith? Did you have one? No, okay. Herrera, any questions? Reed? Kohler, any questions? All right, seeing no questions. Council President Smith, would you please put the motion on the table?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Kaiser City Council adopt, hang on a second, my thing just died. Can we see that?
Yep.
We're stealing her laptop. The internet doesn't like us tonight. Okay, I move that the Kaiser City Council adopt a bill for an ordinance amending Kaiser Development Code regarding Section 2.102 Single Family Residential RS, Section 2.103 Limited Density Residential RL, Section 2.104 Medium Density Residential RM, Section 2.201 General Standards, and Section 2.302 Street Standards, amending Ordinance 98-389.
Well done.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council adopt a bill for an ordinance 2021 amending Kaiser Development Code regarding Section 2.102 Single Family Residential RS, Section 2.103 Limited Density Residential RL, Section 2.104 Medium Density Residential RM, and Section 2.201 General Standards, and Section 2.302 Street Standards, amending Ordinance 98-389. Is there any further discussion?
Actually, I didn't hear that. Can you repeat that?
Where's, find that fork. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. The joys of ordinances, you have to get it word perfect. Okay, item 8B is resolution dissolving the Kaiser Points of Interest Committee. City Manager.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I believe you've had this report from the Points of Interest Committee, and the decision was made by the committee itself to request dissolution after the completion of their work.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions on this issue, City Council? I would like to, at this time, acknowledge and thank the work of all the people who have been on the Kaiser Points of Interest Committee over the years since it was established. This was something that was very important to the late Dr. Jerry McGee, for whom our local history was something that he wanted to make sure that we learned about, we found a way to celebrate, and with these points of interest, be able to highlight so many places and events that happened right here in Kaiser. The work has been fantastic, and all of the points of interest that have been established will continue. They will be maintained, and the partnership we now have with the Kaiser Heritage Museum will extend outside of the museum itself, but also into the community with so many projects that wonderful group has going on in our partnership just right across the street in the old schoolhouse. The Chair, Bob Bush, is here tonight. Thank you very much for the work you have done, and all the members of the committee, and a huge shout out once again to Debbie Lockhart, whose artistic and historical research capabilities have been second to none. With that, Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move the Kaiser City Council adopt Resolution R 2021 dissolving the Kaiser Points of Interest Committee.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council adopt Resolution R 2021 dissolving the Kaiser Points of Interest Committee. Councilor Kohler?
I believe David Loudon was here, who is here, was on that committee also.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Loudon. Yes, Councilor Herrera.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just as a liaison for the Points of Interest Committee for 7 years, I guess, I just want to repeat what you said, basically. Thank all the devoted folks that did that, a lot of good work. And another acknowledgement for Councilor McGee, who had the vision to put this together, and a lot of great work. And I just want to acknowledge Lisa also, Sajika was here. She was part of that. So all the folks that were there, thank you very much for your devotion to that. And I think the Heritage Center is going to do a good job completing some of those that are naturally for them to complete. And so thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Counselor Smith? Dave? Oh, Counselor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to point out too, it was mentioned last time, but several of the points of interest committee are going to be applying for the board of the Kaiser Heritage Museum as well. So we'll continue that relationship, and it's just going to continue in a slightly different format. So, thank you.
It's going to be a good partnership. All right, anything further? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. That takes us to item 8C, which is a public education PEG fund update. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Our Finance Director, Tim Wood, has been working on this issue for some time, and I believe has a staff report on it.
Madam Mayor, City Council, as we've discussed during the budget process, we are coming up at an intersection of two agreements that the city has entered into. We're working on a change in the Comcast agreement. Comcast does provide the city with PEG funds, and we're also coming to the end of our contract with Keizer TV. That agreement ends January 31st, 2022. As we discussed during the budget process, unfortunately with change in legislation, we're not going to be able to maintain the existing revenue sources and the uses of those revenues going forward. This means we're kind of at a juncture where we're going to have to make some decisions regarding what we're going to do with the PEG fund. We have several options. I'm not going to belabor the entire staff report, but we do have some considerations that we need to think about as we move forward. Specifically, if we want to maintain the same level of service that's been provided by Kaizer TV, and I want to say they've been an excellent partner to deal with. Tim Wade, Philip Wade, and Rex Robertson have been instrumental in helping with our PEG program. They've done an excellent job, and their customer service is outstanding. So along with those folks, we've also added some services over the last year or so. We have some interpreters that we're now providing all of our PEG programming in Spanish as well. So with that, if we want to maintain the same level of service, we're going to have to identify an additional revenue source. That could be through adding an additional fee onto the Comcast bill, and that would be in place of the current PEG fee. Or we could look at adding an additional fee onto the city services utility bill. And that's one option if we're looking at maintaining the existing revenue sources. Or we could look for somewhere else within the city, primarily within the general fund, to reduce services within that area and transfer those resources towards the PEG fund. The other option that we can consider is looking at reducing our costs associated with PEG. There has been some talk about moving to a more automated approach. We've been working with our outside consultant, John Strow. He's done a lot of work around the city. He's been our primary equipment contractor for many years with respect to the video production equipment. We kind of have the option of where we can go completely automated to try to retain as much human touch as possible. It really gets down to the quality of the production that we'd like to have in the end. If we move to a completely automated, similar to a courtroom type of setting, it will be good for public records, but not so good for viewing. The general public, every time there's a noise within the room, the cameras will bounce around and probably give everyone migraine headaches. The other option is we can move to a less automated, where we have one camera that just pans out the entire council chambers. This room is a little bit too big for that. It would work well in a small conference room kind of setting, but probably not so well here. So those are some of the options that we have. There's a wide range out there of things that we could potentially do. Also, the other area would be to cut down on the number of programs that we capture. If we were to move towards just capturing the council meetings, we would have enough resources within the PEG fund to last us a few more years before we have to make some more drastic type of cuts or rearranging of revenues. So that's the gist. I wanted to present this to you folks sooner rather than later, because obviously we do have some deadlines that we're going to have to start considering. The current Kaiser TV agreement does end this January, so we'll have to figure out some kind of a process where we are going to have to go out for a request for proposal. We may be able to extend our existing agreement for a little bit of time, but we're really at the end of that contractual obligation. So with that, my request would be, I want to get some kind of consensus out of the direction we should head. Do we want to think about adding an additional fee somewhere? If we do that, it will require some legal review to make sure that it is a legitimate fee that we can charge. If we want to move the direction of being more automated, what quality of production would we be looking at? And also what level of number of events do we want to capture? So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you. And again, I'm just looking for some kind of consensus type of feedback.
So I would like to, this was a very good outline of the kinds of questions we are going to need to address. What I would ask of council is two things. One, the only, yes, it's got to be a work session. The only person on the council at this time who wrote the K-23 task force report would be me. So this was way back in the day as we were getting this started. And I think that Mr. Wood has done a great job of outlining some of the issues on the type of service, the quality of service, and the issues around our transparency and accountability and outreach in the community. What he didn't mention is on top of all that, we now have a state requirement to allow for hybrid meetings. That's also going to stretch our technology. All agencies are now dealing with this statewide, which if ARPA can be used for that, would be awesome. Just putting that note out there. But I think that's something that has to be part of our conversation as well. We can look at, and we can use these funds for upgraded technology and design. We can, the PEG funds. Going forward, we will, if we continue to receive them under the new franchise agreement, we can use it for equipment. We can't use it for services, which we have been doing up until now. So what we need to do is bring everybody up to speed on some of these details, and Mr. Johnson, Mr. Wood are great to do that. The decision points that Mr. Wood asked us to start considering, I think a work session would be in order. Does anybody disagree about having a work session on this topic? Okay, I've got a question from Councilor Herrera and then a question from Councilor Reed.
I disagree that we should have a work session. I agree with that completely. One thing I personally do not want is go down on quality. If anything, we want to go up. I mean, that's how I look at it. As far as funds, we'll figure it out. But we're not, in my opinion, we shouldn't go down on quality. If anything, that's my own perspective. But we do need a work session.
Yeah, to find a way. Thank
you, Madam.
Yeah, Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was just wondering about data in terms of viewership and some of those other data points that we could, bring into the conversation. Is there a way to find out how many people we have watching this, how many we could potentially get, how that compared to perhaps some of our other experimentation with Facebook Live when we were in the quarantine and so forth. So is that data available, and can that be part of this conversation?
Absolutely. I think we'll pull whatever data that we can get and bring that to the work session.
Okay, yeah. There's a lot of data available on the different platforms we go out on, because these meetings go out on Comcast Channel 23, KaiserTV.com, and Facebook Live. So we have all three going out right now based on this one broadcast. So we can get data. Councilor Day.
So are we talking about potentially kind of, I don't know what the right term is, but revamping our whole system? Is it that, can it be that broad or more limited? I'm asking a bad question, but trying to figure out.
I know what you're asking.
What's that?
I think I know what you're asking.
Okay.
And John Straw designed this system.
Okay.
So the gentleman who wrote here, he actually was integrally involved in the design of this AV system and can advise us on what the options are for upgrades in technology and other options.
Okay.
So I think you'll be very helpful in that work session if he can be available to answer some of the technical questions that we may have. If are you guys all okay with inviting him to be a part of that? And Rex or Philip or one of the team from Ike Media, I think it would be helpful to have also to talk about kind of how this all works. I think would be helpful in terms of answering some of our technical questions. Mr. Johnson, you had a comment?
No, I think you answered Councilor Day's question.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? The date I would suggest looking at our calendars, we are very, very busy with other work sessions, would be November 29th. It's a 5th Monday. So if you could, between now and the end of the meeting, take a look at your calendar and make sure that that would work for you. November 29th is, November 29th is a 5th Monday.
Yeah, I'm available.
Okay, you're good? You don't know yet? Okay. Between now, November 29th.
I'm good.
It's a 5th Monday.
I'm good.
Okay. We will double check when we do the agenda input at the end of our agenda. Okay, 11:29. Question mark. Okay, I'll give you time for that. With that, and then if we could work with you, Mr. Wood, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Hare, and with our two technical people on putting together the packet of information for council. And I'm happy to help out from what little I know from way back when. Way back in the day, when we were first getting started with television broadcasting. Okay? Does that work?
That works, yes.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Looking around? All right. That will conclude our administrative action this evening. Next up is our consent calendar. Council President Smith, would you please read the items on tonight's consent calendar?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, there are 2 items. A, approval of the September 27th, 2021 special session minutes. B, approval of October 4th, 2021 regular session minutes.
Thank you very much. Are there any polls? Councilor Reed.
I'd like to pull item B, please.
Okay. That leaves item A. Council President Smith.
I move the Kaiser City Council approve item A of the consent calendar.
Second.
The consent calendar, item 9A, has been moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My council report was left off, and I'm sure I said something. So I would like to have that re-looked at and have that added to the record for approval at a subsequent date.
Okay, so pull that for this evening and bring it back at our next regular council meeting?
Yes, please.
All right. Any objection? Okay, so that will be done. Great. That takes us then to other business. This time is provided to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new or old matters before the council that are not on tonight's agenda. Does anybody else have other business they want to bring up this evening that we have not covered this evening?
I had a
Councilor
question.
Day.
Do we not have session on November 22nd?
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
We were going to be hybrid because I'm not going to be here. Besides, we have 5th Mondays. In this case, we just need to use it. Okay. Seeing no other business, time for staff updates. Mr. Hare?
I have nothing, Madam Mayor.
Ms. Davis?
I have nothing, thank you.
I do have one question for you. How's, sounds like things are getting busy at the community center.
Things are picking up a little bit.
Okay, good to
Still
know.
a little skeptical to meet in person, but we do have a few bookings. One next week.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Wood?
I have a couple of things tonight. This was already announced in the weekly city update, but I just wanted to let everyone know that the city did receive the Government Finance Officer Association's Distinguished Budget Presentation Award. This is the highest award for the budgeting process for government agencies. This really is one of the ways that we try to show that we're transparent and responsible with the citizens' money. So that's It's a big effort, and it's not just the finance department, it's not just me, it's the entire department head, all of the people that work within the city, budget committee, and the city councilors as well. So just want to say thank you to everyone for all the hard efforts that we put into this. And this is about the 7th or 8th year that we've received this in a row, so.
Congratulations.
Yeah, pretty exciting. The other thing, just want to remind folks, starting November-ish time period, start conserving your water. We're moving into the sewer reset period. The city does not have a good way to measure your sewer for obvious reasons. So we base your sewer rates off of your water consumption during the winter months. So starting November-ish, conserve as much as you can, and your wallet will be happy. Thank you.
Good advice. Thank you very much, Mr. Wood. Chief?
Yes, ma'am, I thought I'd tell you that we're replacing both of our canines. They're both, start to say end of life, it's the wrong term to use there. They need to retire, put it that way. Eric Jefferson, one of the handlers, longtime employee, great canine handler, is going to retire at the same time that his dog does. Scott Keniston is going to get a new dog. We hope to get his dog early in November, and then the vendor through whom we buy dogs will make the next trip overseas to buy dogs and make them available to us in February. And we'll have a new handler to replace Eric by the time February rolls around. That's the news. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And if people want to know more about our canine program or support that program, how do they find that information out?
Yeah, you know, we don't have anything up on the website right now for providing support, but we get support throughout the year, over the years. And frankly, our canine program runs off of donations. It's very effective. And I say the canine program, I mean just the dogs themselves and their upkeep. You know, we'll think about that. I'm not real sure how to do that without making a very obvious ask. We're trying to figure out some pleasant way of doing that. Thank you.
Everybody loves our canines. For sure. And congratulations to both our canines on a very successful career and their wonderful handlers. Thank you. Mr. Lawyer.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
I do have a question for you. Somebody had a question about the paving on Windsor Island Road. I haven't been over there. I know the answer, but I just haven't.
Okay, the work on Windsor Island Road is pavement repairs on some bad sections of roadway. The contractors finished those repairs. They'll be striping yet this week. The road will be resurfaced this next summer.
Okay.
So don't expect it to be paved and smooth through the winter. We did the pavement repairs so they would last, so the road would last through the winter because I was concerned it was going to start falling apart. Okay. So it's a little rough. I recognize that. But it's the preparation for paving our summer.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Witham?
I have nothing tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
I have nothing tonight, thank you.
Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I ask a question, Mr. Lawyer?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Lawyer, two things. First, I wanted to say thank you for doing the research and finding out about the lights in the parking lot for me, that they turn off most of them turn off at 9 o'clock. And I appreciate you finding that out. And the second is for a while, one of the fountains was working at Chemawa and River Road, and then the other one wasn't. What's going on with that?
We're still waiting for the contractor to become available to replace the one pump, and we still need to figure out a method to clean the heavy buildup of sludge out of both of those vessels in the bottom. Unfortunately, our big VACON, or the guys like to call it the suck truck, doesn't reach there. And so we're just working on trying to figure out a way to get that stuff out of their shop vac. Isn't effective without a lot of manual effort. The problem with the manual effort is it's down underground deep and not necessarily safe to get into. So until we can get that sludge, it's basically what I'm told, I haven't seen it myself, almost like concrete. It's that compacted and that hard. Until we can get that out, we're not going to turn the pumps back on. So that's the holdup.
Perfect, thank you. I just also want to say I see a lot of stuff that goes on with Public Works, and I appreciate all the work that you guys are doing. I have a lot of comments from constituents that are good comments, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions of our staff members? All right, then we will go to city council reports, and I'm going to really mix it up tonight. I'm going to start with Councilor Smith and go around that way.
Whoa.
Whoa, yeah, we're mixing it
Breaking
up.
patterns, that's very scary.
Well, somebody was kind of complaining we always start one under another. I said, you're right, we should start in the middle.
That's part of the reason I agreed to sit next to you, so I didn't have to do that.
I thought it was because you like my company.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, sure, we'll go with that.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. So let's see, last week we had the Parks Board Committee, and that was actually very interesting. They did the Parks Master Plan update, and it was very interesting. Lots of planning, and I found it interesting that the number one thing as they did their community engagement was that people want us to maintain what we have and make sure we have lots of trails. And I thought that was just the interesting key components. They didn't ask for, you know, all these crazy things. They just want us to maintain and to, you know, to look at making sure we have trails and such. And so it was I found it very engaging, and obviously we've got a lot of planning and work to do at that. So that was great. The other thing was we went to the Marion County Commissioners Breakfast, at which point Commissioner Bethel did say that there was still funding out there, and that's what I was trying to find with Mr. Lawyer earlier, and she wanted us to get the message out there. There is still funding for small business grants that were affected by COVID through Marion County. If you go to their website, it's like right there. So if you have a small business, and it looks as though they had given away a lot of the money up front, but the second go round, there's still a lot of money sitting there. So if you have a small business that was affected, I would definitely check into that. That's a no-brainer. It's free money. So check on that. The other thing was, and I want to thank former council president Freeman, who messaged me because I was trying to find the landlord stuff and the rental. So if you go to the Oregon Housing and Community Services, as Mr. Lawyer said, and then she filled me in, there is right at the top a thing about landlord and rental assistance and anyone who is maybe behind due to COVID. I would highly recommend checking this out. If you are a landlord that has someone who is behind, there is a package on there. You can click on it and get the information, and it could be that the renter is just so overwhelmed with their situation that they may not know where to look. So please, dig a little bit. If you have that situation, you are a landlord with someone who's behind in rent, give them that extra helping hand. Go to the Oregon Housing Community Services. It's in green, big banner right at the top of the page, so it's super easy to find. Good job, whoever did their website. And then, I'm trying to think what else. Oh, I just want to ask that Councilor Kohler not mention any more of our signs.
Thank you.
Because if anybody didn't catch it, last week he was talking about how the Salem Keizer sign and how no one's hit it in several years.
And what happened?
I kid you not, the next morning I look on social media and someone just absolutely crashed into it. And I did. I took a picture of it and I sent it to him. I was like, you totally did that. You put it out in the universe and you ruined the sign. So, side note, please don't drink and drive in the holidays. And thank you, that's all I got.
All right, thank you very much, appreciate that. Councilor Day.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thursday, I had the privilege of attending the Latino Business Alliance meeting. That was awesome. I had a great time. Met some really great people, and that was my first time going. I can't wait to go again. They had a couple of speakers. One was from the Salem Police Department talking about their reorganization, but the other one was from the Energy Trust of Oregon. And they talked about a program that's available to all Oregonians who are customers of Pacific Power, Portland General Electric. There's a couple other ones, not Salem Electric, but a couple other ones, and, as well as Northwest Natural. That you can apply and, you give them how many lights you have in your house and so on and so forth, and they'll send you LED lights to replace. So if you go to energytrust.org and click on residential, there's a short application to fill out, and they will send you your LED lights if you like. I thought that was very interesting. So, and that's all I have, other than joining in Council President Smith's motion that we not allow Councilor Kohler to talk about science. I would fully support that.
I could not believe when I saw that picture. It's like, are you kidding me? They have grass there now, but that goes my point. They should put in a proper roundabout and be done with this. Just saying, all those traffic lights, just make it easy. But anyway, that's my thing. And we could make some extra cows to go in the middle of it. Right? I'm getting Arts Commission going, yeah, we have a fabulous design that will be coming to us and we'd be happy to share.
That would be a moving experience.
It's a moot point.
Councilor Durant,
You're
quick.
just gonna milk this, aren't you?
I'm gonna move this herd along.
Oh, you're not
Councilor
gonna
Durant.
stop. I'll go quick, but not as quick as usual. So I was at Planning Commission last week and it was a good conversation and Matt Lawyer and Shane both talked about it, so I'm not going to talk about it. It's a lot of work coming up and we'll just dig in. It was nice to see to meet the 3 new members, so that was nice. Other than that, I did something I don't do and I haven't done for many, many years, and I went to the McNary football game Friday night. Unfortunately, they lost, but I had a good time. It was great to see the people out there, so it's kind of fun to get out in the community.
That was a huge turnout, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people there.
If I had walked, there was no place to park. Seriously.
It was homecoming.
It was.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of homecoming, Youth Counselor Holman.
Okay, so I have a few things to talk about. So I first just want to debrief about the community service event we had at Northview Park. It was super awesome and super successful. We had 31 McNary students show up and lay bark chips, and our very own Madam Mayor Kathy Clark showed up, which means a lot because us kids think it's pretty cool that you come and show up at these things. We were super efficient. It was a beautiful day. We had some really good food, and we all just had a really great time. Javier, the lead of the JROTC program at McNary, made some delicious, authentic Mexican food, and it was amazing. So yeah, that was super awesome.
That shrimp was amazing.
Now regarding homecoming week, that just happened, and I took the whole day Sunday to recover from it because it was a very long week. On that Wednesday, we had Powder Puff for the first time in 2 years, I believe, right, because of COVID. Unfortunately, the seniors lost, but it was still so fun. It was so fun. I got to do it, and it was a really good experience. And then for the homecoming game, it was so fun. We did lose, but it was a good game. It was a fun game to watch and be a part of. And then for the dance on Saturday, it was our first dance in 2 years, and we had it outside up on the football field. I just wanted to thank the Kaiser Chamber of Commerce for letting us use the tent that they use at Keizer Fest. That was super duper awesome. And overall, it was really, really great to finally be back and doing those sorts of events. Now looking towards the future, on October 31st, on that Sunday on Halloween, McNary National Honor Society is going to have a trunk or treat in the McNary parking lot. It allows from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. It just allows a safe and COVID-friendly experience, and it will still be light outside. And if kids still want to go trick-or-treating after, they'll have that whole evening to do so. So I think that's a really awesome thing that McNary National Honor Society is putting on. And lastly, McNary is hosting a blood drive here on October 29th from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. If you are interested in donating blood, you'll sign up on the Red Cross website, and you'll just put in the zip code and find it on the October 29th date. I just wanted to say giving blood saves lives, and if you are able and willing to do so, I highly encourage you to do it. That is it.
Very good. Councilor Rivera and then Councilor Reed.
I have a question thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a question for you. Today during the Kaiser United meeting, I was told that the graduation committee is going to be selling Krispy Kremes.
Yes,
do you know anything about
I
that?
did not know anything about that until that was
We'll
mentioned.
get on that, would you?
The parents rule that world. I've heard much.
We want support. So,
Yeah.
They want donuts.
Thank you very much.
Then that's this Saturday morning during the food drive at Faith Lutheran for the food bank. They're going to be selling Krispy Kremes at that event. That's what we heard this evening.
This Saturday morning?
This coming
All
Saturday.
right, did you guys hear it? Okay.
23rd.
I'll see you then.
All right, bright and early. You get mine twice. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I believe that they are accepting donations. for
Yes,
the trunk or
candy
treat? Okay, so
donation.
do you want to address that?
Yes, I don't really know specific information about outside candy donations from the public, but I know the classes are having a candy drive during their 6th period class for the trunk or treat event, and if their class gets the most candy donated, they'll get a donut party. So, yeah.
There's the Krispy Kremes.
Apple cider donuts.
And
okay, there we go.
I'm just going to throw it out there. If you do want to donate candy, take it to the front office. They will see that the National Honor Society gets it. So we'll just start that a thing.
So,
We'll put it in Mr. Jesperson's office.
Yeah.
yeah, there you go. So what class you're a senior?
Yes.
Oh, so we'll just take it to the front desk and tell them it's for the senior class.
Yeah. This is for Miranda Coleman. Just kidding.
I know a freshman out there too. I'm going to have to help out equally. Yep. All right.
She's a sophomore now.
She's the guy. I know. All right, sophomore. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And that trunk or treat was the 30th or the 31st? 31st, thank you, just to clarify. Clyde Creek Watershed Council met earlier this month. We added a member, and we just wanted to announce that on November 13th at 9 a.m. we'll be meeting at the Kaiser Rotary Arboretum, and we'll be planting 4 trees and putting bark dust around the rest of them. So mark it on your calendar, November 13th at 9 a.m. Second, we met, Councilor Herrera and I met with them. They didn't have enough for a quorum, so we just sat and had a real good discussion about all kinds of really neat things. Said they want to paint the town, so we look for more information about that. The Chamber Board meeting was on the 13th. Corey gave us a really good synopsis of what's going on with that. One of the things that we talked about was the possibility of moving Keizer Fest to another location instead of where it was this last year. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. On the 14th, I attended the Marion County Commissioners Breakfast with the mayor and with Council President Smith, and a very interesting discussion, and that was summarized very good. On the 14th, I also met with the VCC, the Volunteer Coordinating Committee. We put 4 members, we put 3 members on the parks, and 1 member on the Traffic Safety Bike Ped Committee, so we still have a vacancy on the Traffic Safety Bike Ped Committee, and we can still use some youth committee liaisons. And then today I was able to meet someone that just moved to Kaiser, Linda Simonker. And she said she just moved from Portland. And I said, so why did you move from Portland? And she said, I need to just go somewhere where people can be real again and where I can walk around the block and not worry about it. And one of the comments that I made to her was, we have an amazing police department here with an amazing chief, and this is probably one of the safest cities you can walk in. And she said, great, I've been enjoying it for the last couple of weeks. So welcome to her and her husband. And they said, we may want to get involved a little bit in Kaiser. And I said, great. Yep. So there are new people moving in, and we appreciate seeing them. They live in the West Kaiser Neighborhood Association area. And so that's very good. But thank you for letting me be a part of Kaiser.
You bet. Thank you very much. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I have had an opportunity to go to other sporting events besides football, like volleyball and girls soccer and boys soccer, and those kids are working really hard. Cross country is another one, and we're starting already the winter sports, the basketball and so forth, and so always something going on. So that's, there's always something to do on the weekends. So I've appreciated that. I attended the Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance board meeting, and some highlights for that. There are really some excellent things going on in terms of the resources. Regionally, tiny homes, hotels, etc. There's money that's starting to come in, and it's being well used because of the very careful planning that has been going on ahead of time in that process, and just really speaks well to that how we've identified and anticipated both our challenges and resources there. It was fun to see the shout out to our Percy fundraiser and how that was successful in supporting the efforts of fulfilling our student needs, and that was a big thank you to the Kaiser Network of Women for that. And then also a big piece that I really appreciated was the public relations piece of that. We've hired a public relations consultant, and raising awareness and getting the word out and correcting public perception are all really important parts of this work, and it's really a key thing to be able to connect people in need with their resources and be able to dispel some of the misinformation that has gone out, and so I really appreciate those efforts as well. So those were some of the highlights of that meeting. Conferences are coming up at McNary. So this Wednesday and Thursday, there's a Wednesday evening session and then 3 different sessions on Thursday. These will all be online this year. They'll all be virtual, and in order to take advantage of that, they have a link on the McNary High School website. So if you're a parent and you want to sign up for conferences, please, please, please do. Just Google McNary High School and that'll take you to the website and you can sign up there. It's a pretty easy process. Hopefully it will go very smoothly and will be well attended, I hope. So we're coming to the end of our first grading session already, our first 6-week grading period, and so things are happening. It's been quite an adjustment getting back to the real world, and yeah, we're all getting there. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councilor Herrera.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A lot of stuff going on, but some of the highlights, we had a Kaiser United this morning, at lunch today. That's where I heard about the Krispy Kremes. So then we also attended Marion County Public Safety Coordinating Council, and I actually got to go to all 3 of the neighborhood association meetings. I went to Southeast, the Greater Gulfshire, and then I joined West Salem one too. That was kind of fun. What, did I say West Salem again? Oh my gosh. That's not good.
None shall cross, remember? You can't get across the river.
Can you take it off the tape? My nephew coach in West Salem would like that. Also, we coming up, we have the long range planning on Monday, but December 2nd, we have there's the CASA lunch, and we're all familiar with that. I hope I don't know if you have got tables, but if not, let's try to support them. And then our LOC virtual conference. There's been a lot of virtual, as a board member, I attend a lot of those affinity groups and all the LOC stuff. I try to listen to as much as I can. And I wanted to thank the folks that showed up today, Sophia and Michelle, and our young Boy Scout, who's fantastic. It was great. And Sophia, I'm going to call Paula Proud Paula from now on. So, and wish you the best luck on in your next effort here. But also, I wanted to mention that November 1st and 2nd is Dia de los Muertos, which is a Mexican celebration, or it's actually more of a celebration of our mourning than it is a mourning. And for those that don't know, it's November 1st and 2nd, it's a 2-day event. I like to tell people about that because it's not Mexican Halloween. My neighbor was saying, it's not Mexican Halloween. No, it's not. It's basically a celebration of the past folks that have passed on, and we do an altar. It's called a ofrenda, where you build an altar and you highlight all the folks that passed away in your life. And it's, you can talk stories about them, and it's a pretty fun, it's actually a good thing, positive thing, not mourning type of stuff more. And I also want to applaud, not while I'm at it, with our school. I've been working with the school district over 30-something years, but I want to applaud our school board for passing the equity and anti-racism resolution. I believe it's a good step forward, and it's long overdue, and I really am appreciative of our leadership that we have now. So, and that's all I got. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Just a couple of things to wrap up here. I scroll down. A lot of you covered a lot of these things, which is great because we're all working together. The Mid-Willamette Area Commission on Transportation met on the 7th. What of interest to us here would be the virtual open house for the Bike-Ped Strategic Project Funding Project List. And I've already sent out that link to the Bike-Ped Committee so they can be looking at that project list and make comments. It's the 150% list that's going to be pared down as they get into the actual amount of funding available, and they want our input on what that's going to look like, which projects move forward. On the Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance, the executive committee met on Tuesday, the 12th. There were no appeals of the ranking of projects that are going forward with the notice of funding opportunity to HUD, the Housing Urban Development, the ask that we are submitting as a collaborative applicant for funding this year's $1.2 million. We have several organizations, including the Center for Hope and Safety, Sable House, and other organizations that are applying for these funds. I think we have a very strong application from each of the organizations, and I think we will do very well in the national competition, if you will, for those funds. And this goes back to what Councilor Reed was talking about with the Homeless Alliance. Because of the strength of our strategic plan, the collaboration we have with our service providers, our governments, and our faith community, our nonprofit community, we've been able to bring significantly more money and, more importantly, a higher quality of services into this area in the last 2 years than we've been able to do ever. City of Salem, because of that support, has been able to move forward on a number of projects, including right now, they have 8 of 20 locations for safe parking already identified and moving forward with getting those set up. And they're working to identify 12 more sites, but they have funded for 20. So again, they wouldn't be able to do this. This is not just a parking lot, good luck. In all of these facilities, there are staff and safety protocols, sanitation, and so forth that has to go into it. These are planned, they are managed, because the safety of the individuals who come there is paramount. So they will stay there. They're easy then to continue outreach for additional services in their journey. And then the board did meet. We heard from the 3 McKinney-Vento coordinators for 3 of our school districts, Salem, Keizer, Woodburn, and Cascade. Very informative on the work that they're doing with their homeless student population. Because of the grant that we recently received for $3.7 million for our youth homeless demonstration project, we also were able to receive an additional $146,000 for planning that will help expand our opportunities to plan for and work with service providers for better serving our homeless students in our 2-county region. That is moving forward. Just as an FYI, the school district with the highest percentage of homeless students in the state of Oregon is in our 2-county area, and that's Falls City. So we have rural and urban working together to address the needs of our students. You see why that's my favorite board meeting. It's all about getting stuff done in a meaningful way. I just love all the good news that people share. The Heritage Board met on the 12th. Want also to mark your calendars, folks. On November 5th and 6th, we will have a book sale for the Kaiser Community Library right here. So you need more books to read this winter. Come here and get them and support our library. SEDCOR, the Strategic Economic Development Corporation, did a great presentation on the 13th, presented by Fly Salem, talking about the work going on through the Chamber of Commerce and associated partners regarding bringing commercial air service back to McNary Field here in Salem. I encourage you all to go to the website. The video is there, and watch that. Presenters from Volare, from the Willamette Workforce Partnership, and from the wine industry, just talking about this from a variety of points of view. It was really well done, and looking forward to them being actually get a ring and a date for commercial air service. I'll use it. So that's kind of the updates. Coming up, Regional Solutions will have their Mid-Willamette Valley meeting on the 20th. Councilor Herrera mentioned the League of Oregon Cities will be doing virtual meetings on Wednesday and especially Friday morning, so hopefully you'll be able to take that time off work for that. That's going to be the conference, yes. So it's free, you just log on, and they have some sessions that are that they're going to hold, and then they'll have the annual meeting at 11:45. And one last thing is for the Salem Keizer Area Transportation Study, SCATS, we've drafted a letter regarding some of the rulemaking that the Department of Land Conservation and Development has put out to try to deal with transportation, climate strategies and so forth. Some of the proposed rules would be in direct conflict with our requirements under the federal requirements to receive the funds that we get for projects. So that information has been written up and passed back to DLCD to let them know that some of their ideas will not be compatible with getting our state formula funds for transportation. So that should be an interesting conversation on the 26th. That is all I have. Is there anything else? I'm going to go to agenda input unless you have, and oh, by the way. Agenda input on the 20th. Oh, by the way?
Oh, by the way, Jonathan Thompson sent me a message that said that it sounded like it's been a real pun meeting tonight.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Linfield University's football team for extending their streak of winning seasons to 65. It's the longest at any level in collegiate football.
Congratulations, especially to a proud Linfield father. Yep. Well done. Okay, agenda input. October 25th, next Monday, we will meet at 6 p.m. as the Long Range Planning Task Force to talk about our ARPA funds. On November 1st, 7 p.m. regular session. November 8th, work session on our Parks Master Plan. Can't wait to see that. November 15th, 7 p.m. in regular session. Did everybody get a chance to take a gander at their calendar? Work session on the 29th. Councilor Kohler, you good? Oh, Mr. Hare.
Madam Mayor, just a reminder that the long-range planning work group meeting on the 25th will be via Zoom.
Okay.
Just to accommodate the number of people that will be here.
Okay, back on Zoom.
Is the Parks Master Plan by Zoom as well, or is that in person?
As far as I know, it's in person.
Okay.
Right. It's not a joint meeting with the Parks Board, so I think we're good.
Okay.
Right. It's presentation, I think, to us on the results from the consultant. Am I correct? Okay. Mr. Lawyer says I'm right. Okay. 29th, are we good? Councilor Kohler? Councilor Reed? Councilor Herrera? Council President Smith? Councilor Day? Councilor Duran? We're good for the 29th for our work session regarding the television and options. All right. Is there anything else for the good of the order? The time is 8:34. We are adjourned.